Hello, it is Matt Stone. Welcome back to the Matt Stone Show. It has been a minute and a half, maybe even two. And I apologize. I have not been consistent, and that is a sin in any kind of creator world. And I've committed it for a while now. I do have some pretty good excuses, but it's time for those excuses to end, and it's time to get back on here and start posting again. So I just want to thank you for listening. I apologize again for it, not putting myself out there and in a way that I know, because I've talked to people and they say, well, gosh, I used to listen to your podcast when I used to do a daily kind of quick hit thing. And I heard from a surprising number of people who never commented on it, and that was fine, but it's like, yeah, that was really helpful to me. So I thought, you know what? It's time to get back on the horse. It is time to get back into it because I really do love it. And so here we are. So gosh, 2025, I don't know about you. I turned 50 this year. That's been pretty consequential. The world feels, at least to me, like it's turned completely upside down and being ripped apart. If you live in the United States, or even if you don't live in the United States, but you pay attention to what's going on here, or you're impacted by what's going on here, you may have a wide variety of thoughts about it. And I've got plenty of people in my circle who are really happy with what's going on. But I've got a lot more who are really not. So we live in a time of great polarization and anxiety and uncertainty, disruption, but a lot of fear. And it is truly the prayer of my heart that we can reinvent our country in some way. To be more about us and less about me. And so I'm not going to spend this podcast talking about that, other than to say that even though there have been many, many things that for me are personally very upsetting and alarming as a lawyer, as an American citizen, as a federal contractor for a long time, I mean, just on down the line, as a friend of people in various communities who feel extremely threatened for good reason. I do think we have an opportunity. And we need to be connecting with one another in order to take advantage of that opportunity. And so I'm hoping that my voice can be a small contributor to that. So that's my thoughts on the world this year. But I hope you're enjoying the summer. If you're in a place where you enjoy the summer, to my Australian friends, I guess it isn't summer for you, so your summer is coming, but it's winter there. I do want to say a couple of things. I want to share with you some things that have been helpful to me this year in terms of taking another look at what kind of life I want to live, how I want to contribute, what my business should be about. That's been changing a lot. But a couple of things that have been really helpful to me. Number one is I really have limited the amount of news that I've consumed. I still consume a fair amount of it, but I've chosen my sources very carefully, combination of video, but also written news. And just, I canceled my cable subscription. I don't need to be watching, nonstop fear-based fear-mongering. So that's been great. The other thing is I'm investing in reading, and I've always, done that to some degree, but I've made a really conscious choice. So the first thing is I'm reading a book called Shatterproof by my friend Tasha Eurich, and it's so timely. It's how to thrive in a world of constant chaos and why resilience alone isn't enough. Okay, so if this resonates with you, Brene Brown's comment on this: brave storytelling, insightful science, and wise guidance. And I agree with Brene Brown. It's a great book. Tasha's an amazing author and researcher. She's a rare combination of both. And she writes in such an accessible way. And the bonus is you get to know her along the way too. She really reveals herself in her writing. And I adore her and I respect her work greatly. So that's been really helpful to me. And the other one, I went with some fiction because every time I get away from fiction, I don't know, I tend to read nonfiction, but fiction is wonderful in a different way. It stimulates my creative mind more. And so I've been reading Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. Now, why this one? I don't know. I think I read The Old Man and the Sea a long, long time ago. But I don't think I ever read For Whom the Bell Tolls. In fact, I know I didn't. And so I went down and got myself a library card at the local library. I thought, why am I buying all these books? This is crazy. I've got a perfectly good library. So I got a library card, went in there. It was kind of nostalgic to go in the library with mostly kids, frankly, and find some books. And I've checked out several books already. I've read one of them. I'm working on Hemingway. I've got another one in the barrel. So that's been a real blessing. So really curtailing endless consumption of fear-based media, and also upping the investment in reading that fills my mind and my heart and my soul and and stimulates my creativity. Maybe that's why I'm podcasting again. So let me talk about the future of the podcast. So as I've been working on reinventing my business and my business focus moving forward, it's gotten me really thinking about the kind of media that I want to put out there and who I want to help and how I want to help them. And so this podcast in particular, now I've done different things with this podcast over the years. I ended up naming it The Matt Stone Show because honestly, I went back and forth on so many different niche titles about, well, it's about, underwater basket weaving or cooking this year, or it was usually business topics, right? And I've been thinking about what I want Substack to be about and what I want this podcast to be about. And what I want it to be about is whatever I want it to be about. I want it to be sharing what I'm thinking about. If I find some interesting things or stimulating things or things that pique my curiosity or helpful quotes, etc., I want to be able to share that with you in a short form. And so what I've decided to do is turn this into, for now, a daily journal, really, a daily inspirational journal. I hope it brings you inspiration and sparks curiosity and interest in you, but I want it to be a vitamin shot to help you either start your day or get through your day or reflect better on the day that you are wrapping up. And I want to be a friendly voice that just adds some positivity to your life in any way that I can. So I hope that it's beneficial. And my intention moving forward is to be posting daily or as daily as I can. So there may be some exceptions. There's some travel. I'll try and let you know. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify or on Apple or some other streaming platform, just know that the podcast is hosted on Substack. It's mattstone.substack.com, mattstone.substack.com. So you go there. If you're listen on Apple, by all means, listen on Spotify or wherever you like to get your podcast. But if you want to join, lend your voice, subscribe on Substack also. And if something interests you or it sparks an idea in you, join us on Substack and leave a comment. I am very intent on turning this into a community. So I think I've only got, I think we're at 35 subscribers right now. And that's because I haven't been posting for a very, very long time. I have not been tending to the garden. I want to get that to 1,000. That's my next goal is 1,000. And we can do this. And I want to get it there because I want to build a community of people who are interested in genuine connection, positive movement forward, supporting one another, and building not only a community, but being a part of a society that we really want to live in. So that's what this is going to be about. I'm also working on a business-oriented podcast that's longer form that I will be talking about in more detail, but that's going to be separately hosted and a separate channel. So this one is now going to morph into really the namesake's ideas. Matt Stone, that's me. Not the South Park one. I'm the other one. If I had $1.5 billion like they do, maybe I'd be on a yacht somewhere. But no, I really want to contribute in a positive way to people's lives, and so we're going to be investing in that moving forward. So please join me on Substack. Again, it's Matt Stone, MattStone.substack.com. You'll see the podcast there. And you should be able to leave comments. Now, I'll need to change the settings, etc., and I'll make sure to do that. But I encourage you to do that. And as you listen, and when you feel compelled and like there's enough consistency for me, I need to earn this from you, please share this with your community, your friends. And let's get ourselves to 1,000 subscribers on Substack and get a robust community around the ideas that really matter and the things that are going to help us through this next period. Because folks, we're in it. We are in it. We are in a total overturning of our society in many different realms. And if you like what's going on, okay. And by the way, I have very strong views, and I have friends and family who are, think that a lot of what's going on, they support. I've also got probably more people in my community who do not, but I don't want to be divided. We can't afford to be divided. We cannot afford to hate one another. We need to really listen to one another and communicate, not in the way that some of, for example, the news channels do it, because they're about getting views. And so hatred and anger and all of that really sells. And there's politicians who know that too. We don't need to opt into that. We can opt to do it a different way. So I just invite you to do that. And the other thing I'll just say is one of the biggest difficulties with this period, and really any period dating back as long as humans have been alive, is that we don't like uncertainty. And right now there's extra uncertainty and volatility. And uncertainty makes us very, very uncomfortable, and it can cause serious implications if we don't recognize what it really is. And so I would just encourage you to take good care of yourself. And I came across this quote that I've heard before, but I think it's attributed to Voltaire, but it's, uncertainty is an uncomfortable position, but certainty is an absurd one. And we have a lot of people who are just absolutely certain that they're right. And some of those people are going to try and impose that on us. We have to be careful not to fall into that trap and choose to be seekers of truth and to be seekers of peace and love and joy and connection at the same time. What is good for all of us. So with that, I will leave it for today and just tell you I'm looking forward to doing these on the regular and bringing a little sunshine, maybe some good vitamins to your day. Until next time, be good to yourself and others. We'll see you.